Hello everyone, this is Noelle with Noelle Rollins Art. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to work on drawing an egg, which I thought would be really fun. It's something that everyone has in their homes, so you are welcome if you'd like to go and pause this video and go actually make a sunny side up egg that you could use for your own reference. That could be really fun, and then just generally follow along the tips that I'm giving. So as you can see in the video here, the egg is not just yellow and white. It seems like it would be when we think about it, but what I found was there were many, many colors that went into the white part of the egg. Along the edge here, you'll see me adding some darker contrasting colors. And where that is where I fried the egg up, and there's a little bit of more well-cooked parts where the egg is thicker in most of it, and then it gets pretty thin and bubbly and brown along the edges. So I work during this video on showing that contrast in height, the level of doneness it is. And you'll see me go through a few times with a paintbrush, and then you saw a bottle flash before your screen, and what that is rubbing alcohol. There are a few different things you can use, any sort of paint thinner sort of thing, and a paintbrush. And if you dip your paintbrush in it and brush it very carefully along the colored pencils, you'll want to stick to similar colors when you do this and practice a little. It'll break down the waxes in the colored pencils so that it actually allows you then to add more layers on once it dries. And it'll get rid of that white paper showing through, especially in the yolk of the egg. That really helped to be able to go over it with a paintbrush and just allows that color to look much more saturated. So here I'm going along the edge of the egg, and I'm doing a lot darker colors again, and I'm going darker than what actually will end up being, because I plan on coming in with some white highlighting and adding the shimmer back onto the egg afterwards, and some of the bubbles and some of the background showing through. So right now I'm just kind of playing around and going a little more dramatic with the shadowing, and I will work at lightening up after. And around the egg yolk color, I ended up using a sunshine yellow, a dandelion, a little bit more of a brownish yellow, and then all the way into a golden brownish color around the edge to really add the depth within the egg. And so here you see me again with the paintbrush. And I'll put what this product is in the comments. You can get it at Blick Art Materials or many art stores. And it's a two-part thing where you'll take like a chalky substance and you'll mix it with liquid that's in a sort of a nail polish type bottle. And together what that does is gives you a more creamy version of what's on the inside of a colored pencil. And it allows you to take a paintbrush and come back in and add white highlights. So here I'm adding white highlights, and what I found was I started adding them, and it just was not enough contrast. So this was my first egg as well doing, and so it's kind of a really realistic look at what you may find as well. In that after I started adding this white onto it, I realized actually the white of the egg is a little darker than what I had drawn it. So I had to come back in and add more depth of color to the white of the egg. So I have a really small brush that I'm using to go around and show all of the parts where the shine of the white part of the egg is. And really it's showing the grease, the texture, the shimmer. The egg that I cooked, on the left side of the yolk, there's a lot of like a bubble texture almost sort of thing happening. So I'm working at creating that illusion. And then you'll see some of this in order to wear it into the rest of the painting. I even used just my finger and kind of blend it in a little bit to make it not quite so bold. I think an egg is a really fun thing because it's, again, something we all have, and it's such a basic thing that we're so used to seeing that in our mind's eye we think we know how to draw it, but if you actually start to look at an egg and break down how it looks, it was incredibly difficult, to be honest. And it's something that I think I'll practice more at too. I could see it being something that over time could get better and better at. So I'm just continuing to add highlights. It's a pretty tedious process. And I like the look of the egg here, but I thought, you know what? Why not play around with some fun background colors? So I started with some really dark blues, blacks, grays, and you'll see me add about 4 or 5 layers of color to the background. And what I find when I do this is just to tend to try to go in different directions. I try to, if I went one direction with the color before, I try to switch up the direction on the next color and really get in the different, in between the teeth of the paper with different colors and different strokes. So here I come in with another blue. And some of this looks different on camera than it did in person. The lighting that I had is capturing the colors a little bit differently, but you can get the idea. So here I'm coming in with that rubbing alcohol again and really blurring these colors together to eliminate some of the strokes from the pencils. I kind of start to rub it into the edge of the egg. Now that once you have to allow that to thoroughly dry, or you'll start to rip at the paper. But once it's dry, you can start to come in and go to the egg. And I actually come in with a little blue even onto the edge of the egg. When I really started looking at my reference photo, there were little bubbles that had popped along the edge where you could see the background through. In my photo, that was a frying pan, but in this situation, it would be the blue then that you could see. So I still wasn't satisfied with the level of highlights. So one trick you can do is what I did was just tape a piece of paper over part of it so your hand doesn't continue to smear anything. And I'm coming in with a really soft beige color. You'll see me use a light greenish color, a tan. And I really tried to surround the highlights that I had put in and add a little bit more depth of color. Coming in with a gray, a light grayish white. So all in all, this egg ended up taking about 2.5 hours to draw. Much of the time is spent sharpening pencils and trying to find the exact right color that I'm looking for to really match the photo, the reference photo, as good as possible. And one thing to remember too is if you are using just the basic Crayola pack of colored pencils, that is just fine. What I recommend with that is start with the yellow. Really add in a really soft layer, come in with the blues, and as light as possible add in some texture with the blues. You can really come in with each color just very lightly and start to achieve a very similar feel. You'll see I went back one more time with the rubbing alcohol and blurred the background a little bit more, and here I am coming in again with the highlights. And it's starting to come together. It's like a terracotta, a little bit deeper brown that I'm coming in with now and doing the edge of the yolk, a little bit of the grease splatters. Now there's a very good chance when I was cooking this egg that I could have been a little bit neater so I didn't have grease splatters or all the texture on the egg. And it probably would have made it much easier for me to draw. It would have been smoother. So as you're watching this, I would love to hear if you try this. Let me know in the comments what you think of this instruction. If you have any other questions that I didn't address, and I'd love to answer them for you. And so here you find the final image, and you can start to see in reference size it was just a little bit larger than normal life, not too much bigger, about 6 by 9. And all in all, I think it was a pretty good first attempt at an egg. So if you liked it, I'd love if you'd give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, leave a comment. It really helps with YouTube is very stingy on getting people to see new channels and channels without a lot of views. So every comment and thumbs up really helps people be able to find me. And since it's just me over here working and producing these videos and drawing the drawings, I appreciate any help with having other people find my art. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will check back in and watch my other videos with me. Have a great day. Bye.